I've lived in Kenosha, Wisconsin my entire life. I always tell people it's a great place to grow up.
Growing up was great. Now it's kind of a hot mess. When I watched the Jacob Blake video, I watched it once and that was it. I couldn't. Because it's one thing to see black men being murdered in cities that are far away from you. And when you see your hometown trending for that, it felt like the whole world just froze.
I don't remember thoughts, I remember feelings. I remember feeling really heartbroken, upset, but also just so frustrated and angry. It's like this happened again.
And then the tears came, and then the hyperventilating came, and then the panic attack came, and then the anger came.
I think that whatever side of the aisle you fall on, you can look at this situation and go, yeah, we have a problem. And I think bringing that right home to Kenosha was like, it's here too. We have work to do. Since everything that's been going on, I've tried to look at ways that I can make a difference, like real change, not just, okay, I posted something on my Facebook and now I'm like an activist. I really took a look at, okay, well, what do I do and what can I do to address racism? So for me, that meant, okay, well, I'm an artist, I'm in the theater industry, what can we do there? This summer, I got a message from a friend of mine, Cat Christmas.
My name's Cat Christmas. My two good friends, Natalie Lall and Nick Daly, helped me create the KUSD Theater Arts Race and Diversity Petition that called on KUSD Theater to look in depth at its casting process and how they're casting their students of color.
KUSD Theater is this really great district-wide theater program. KUSD Theater provided an incredible wealth of opportunities for all students. That doesn't mean that there weren't instances that shouldn't have happened and things that need to be better in the future.
So in the document, we provided examples of how past castings were extremely problematic and detrimental to its students of color. And so, for example, we did this production called The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Incredibly, we had a black man play Quasimodo. But there was this scene in the square was this sort of public humiliation of Quasimodo, and he's sort of tied up.
He had to be whipped on stage. I remember Nick crying. He had such a visceral reaction to that scene and he could not figure out why.
That image means something, especially in this country. We have to have conversations about what that means.
And in the petition that I created, called for continuous and constant conversations about what it means and how the story changes when people of color are put into these predominantly white roles.
And so that's the whole idea of color-conscious casting rather than color-blind casting, where you just don't acknowledge a person's race and you throw them in a role and you say, great, play the role the way you want to play the role, awesome.
In every musical, in every play, in every TV show, in every script, there's always an inherent level of racism inside of it that you wouldn't normally see unless you're like completely dissecting it. And if a script is written for the default white actor, right, you bring in actors of color, you then have to completely reread the script and how that impacts those actors of color.
The color of your skin means something. Every actor, whether you're black or Latinx or Asian, you bring your culture and your color with you on stage. And that needs to be acknowledged. The process sort of went the way, ideally, this whole process throughout the country should go. You have people coming forward with their stories, and they're heard, and they're listened, and they're cared about.
We went over all the things that we called for in the petition and the list of demands that we created one by one, and they told us how they were going to make those changes, and it was very supportive, and it was a really good conversation.
I think that will really make a difference going forward for students of color and non-students of color in KUSD Theater. The message that, all change makers have for the world is do what you can where you are. Make some change where you're at. Don't just sit by and let things happen, but get up and love. Whatever that means to you, I think, go for it.